This man chomps down Test centuries for breakfast, but he's completing his most fulfilling three-figure milestone now, joining the champion club of cricketers to have played 100 Tests. And Stephen Smith enters this elite list with a slice of history of his own. Of the 74 players to have featured in 100 Tests before him, no one has come into their landmark game with a higher batting average than Smith, who's only a smudge under 60 heading into Headingley. He spent his initial years playing catch-up to the generation's best batters, established himself well enough to form along with them the Fab Four, and now towers above the lot, having scored nearly 1,000 more runs than either Joe Root or Virat Kohli had at the same stage. Consistency is perhaps the first attribute that comes to mind when you think of Smith's Test career. His average crossed 55, a safe barometer for Test batting greatness across eras, for the first time in his 28th Test in 2015, and it's never dropped below that mark. Only Gary Sobers and Sachin Tendulkar have had longer streaks of consecutive Tests averaging above 55. That 55 mark was breached in the initial phase of a prolonged period of excellence touched by no batter not called Don Bradman. From February 2014 to July 2019, Smith amassed nearly 6,000 runs at an average in excess of 76. Only the Don has ever had a more productive span of 50 successive Tests. In a decade where most batters have found it tough to thrive in away climbs, Smith has stood tall enough to be counted among the best in history. He has nearly 5,000 runs at an average of 55.6 away from home. Among all batters to have played at least 40 away Tests, only Wally Hammond and Alan Border have fared better. To top it all up, he stands unmatched when it comes to seizing the initiative in a contest. Smith averages 87.24 in the first innings of Tests. No batter to have featured in at least 50 games comes anywhere close. To think that these numbers and records have been piled up by someone who first broke into the Australian Test side as a leg spinner, one of many who were meant to fill a Shane Warne-sized void, beggars belief. Fittingly, Smith hits this 100 at Leeds, the venue of his first Test 50, all the way back in 2010, then Australia's number 8, now Test cricket's number 1 from his generation, and arguably among the greatest of all time.